The Shibuya Incident in Jujutsu Kaisen recently finished its anime run, already cementing itself as one of the great shonen arcs due to how tightly it was written, along with the masterful adaptation it received. The Shibuya Incident was an event that took place during October 31st, but instead of being scared by college students dressing up as cats, we were scared of the very well-being of whoever was unfortunate enough to be in Shibuya during Halloween. The Shibuya Incident received praise due to how the different factions involved in the incident had meticulous planning in order to enact their will, and change the course of society forever or steer it away from sheer destruction. It's always really satisfying seeing these kinds of arcs pay off big time, and there's currently an arc similar to the Shibuya Incident going on in one of Weekly Shonen Jump's most promising upcoming hits, Sakamoto Days. Did I just bait you into watching a Sakamoto Days video using Jujutsu Kaisen? Yes, I did. But honestly, anyone who loves JJK would probably love Sakamoto Days as well. Anyone familiar with Sakamoto Days but isn't caught up to it might be confused at this comparison, since an arc as grim as Shibuya doesn't seem like it would be taking place in Sakamoto Days, which is pretty ironic considering that Sakamoto Days is literally about the best assassins in Japan killing each other. But you know, Sakamoto Days always had more of a lighthearted vibe since the personalities of the characters involved were so goofy and shonen-y. If you read it, you know what I mean. It always felt like Sakamoto Days was building up towards some big event, however. Even after 100 chapters, the overarching villain, Slur, was still mostly in the shadows, sending his henchmen to do his bidding in all kinds of locations while he just sits in his room, posing and looking raw while muttering slurs. Wait, he's not racist? Just a murderer. Oh, thank goodness. After a major plot twist though, the big event is finally here, and it's the culmination of multiple different parties all meeting up at one large event, all with different agendas in mind, all looking to kill each other, kinda like Shibuya. You know what else? This event also takes place during October 31st, just like Shibuya. Well, it would be taking place on that date if it wasn't mistaken for September 18th. How do you even mix those dates up? They don't even sound remotely similar. Maybe Gege just took over the pen for a few seconds when announcing the date. That one-eyed cat's always up to some shit. Anyways, the Okutabi National Museum of Art's Assassin Exhibit of the Century, oh my god, that's a mouthful. I'm just gonna call it the Assassin Exhibit arc of the century, is finally here. Well, it's not the arc of the century, it's the Assassin Exhibit of the Century, and it's an arc about that. Okay, I've spent too long on this. We're finally getting to see an insane clash between the strongest parties that we've seen so far in Sakamoto Days. The Order, which is honestly one of the coolest ensembles in shonen manga in general, Sakamoto and his gang of grocery goons, and Slur/X/K/Ray. Oh, right. If you're not caught up to Sakamoto Days, pause this video and go catch up. I know you're thinking, oh brother, this dude wants me to read 150 chapters in a heartbeat, but you'd be surprised at how bingeable Sakamoto Days is. Over the past year, we've gotten a lot more chapters about Slur, especially after the arc featuring Sakamoto returning to the JCC to get his GED and assassination along with Shin. At JCC, we got to meet more of the players who'd be featured in the penultimate event of the assassination exhibit. The ball really started rolling when we got a long arc about Sakamoto, which introduced everyone's new favorite female character in Sakamoto Days, Rion Akao, the aunt of Akira Akao, whom Sakamoto met during the JCC infiltration arc. This arc centered around Rion, Sakamoto, and Nagumo, all students at the JCC who were basically sent to their deaths after they roughhoused a little too much in public and accidentally destroyed public infrastructure for the thrill of the battle. Yeah, these guys are total psychos, but they're psychos that work well together, doing stuff like using a grenade to launch a wheelchair on the fly. Slur's also involved in this arc and got the misfortune of being put into a mission with them that involved transporting a VIP with Kendaka, the man who had founded the Order with Yotsumura, who I'll talk about later. It's in this flashback where we get to see how Slur, who went by Kei at the time, used to be a student, and it's not really what you'd expect. Instead of being a battle-hungry assassin like the others, Kei actually asserts that all killing is evil, and pled to Rion to avoid needless killing despite all of them going to a literal assassination school. We find out that Kei is the mole inside of the JCC and was being forced to take action by his big brother, Asaki, who was up to be the next chairman of the JCC at the time, and was trying to use Kei and have him kill the current chairman's wife and daughter during a special mission. I felt pretty bad for Kei seeing him beg with his brother to not get these civilians mixed up with assassination work and opt to go for Kindaka, an Order member instead. Even then, Kei couldn't bring himself to kill Kindaka as Kindaka ended up saving him before falling into a coma. I really liked this flashback arc since we got to see more of what Kei is truly like, and it made him feel a lot more human than he had previously, especially when we saw him go through things like blackmail by his own older brother who threatened to kill members of the orphanage Kei grew up at. The orphanage itself is revealed to be an operation by the JAA that preys on disadvantaged children and forces them to train in assassination in order to create assassins who could someday join the Order, framing the side that Sakamoto and the Order sees as terrorists as a product of the JAA's own lack of ethics when it comes to cultivating assassins. I really enjoyed this flashback arc since we not only got to learn more about how Kei actually was when he was a student, we also got to see how the trio of Rion, Nagumo, Nagamo and Sakamoto used to fight back in the day, along with how they reacted to the disappearance of Kei, who was deemed a traitor by them. We have Rion, one of the most promising assassins ever, even giving Sakamoto a run for his money due to her efficient method of finding paths for assassination that don't waste movement. She was the most entertaining character during the flashback by far, bringing an I don't give a fuck energy that made her character interactions and fights all the more entertaining. Like, this woman straight up lit a cigarette with the sparks of her bike. She's so damn cool. And she's the total opposite of Kei personality wise, which made the crazy plot twist of her being within Kei's body all the more insane. No, not like that. They're not doing that. We don't see that. She's like, her soul is in the body, okay? There's nothing dirty going on here. I'm really curious to see how her soul ended up being in Kei's body in the first place and why she's the one who put the hit on Sakamoto in the first place, especially considering Sakamoto had seen her body when he had supposedly killed Kei back in the day. We have Sakamoto, who now, just like back then, always put his comrades ahead of himself and was forced back into the assassin world after getting the 1 billion bounty put on him by Rion. He's Sakamoto. I don't think I gotta explain what his motives are for participating in the exhibition. All you gotta know is bro will be there and he will be locked in. Then we have Nagamo, who I found most interesting of them all, especially since he's still in the order and did a lot of the heavy lifting when it came to investigating Rion and Kei's disappearances. He's recruiting people like Yotsumura to look into the slur case and is constantly acting on his own and getting information, even butting heads with Sakamoto himself in order to maintain his agenda. Seeing him flip the switch from goofy to extremely bloodlusted whenever he's alone with someone is so cool, and even now I truly have no idea what Nagamo has planned next. Through the flashback arc, along with the build-up within Sakamoto Days in general, we now have 3 parties that have all targeted the special assassination exhibit at the Okotabi Art Museum to meet and chat about all the wonderful tools that are on display that were used by assassins before going on their merry way, or use the weapons inside of the exhibit along with the museum's environment itself to have crazy fights that employ different weapons and strategies with every different clash. Slur's group aims to destroy the JAA since it's been behind their miserable upbringing, and he's aiming to do this by detonating human bombs inside of the museum and taking out the chairman of the JAA along with any innocents for bonus points in hell. The order is tasked with protecting Chairman Asaki, who is Slur's older blackmailing brother, along with taking Slur down at all costs even if civilians are lost for this purpose. Sakamoto just wants to stop random people from blowing up and wants to protect civilians while figuring out what the fuck is going on with Rion and Kei. It's cool seeing that Sakamoto doesn't have the complete support of the order, or even Nagamo has a different goal in mind. It's also the first time multiple parties have met up like this, and we really don't know who's gonna win. On paper, Sakamoto's team seems the weakest, but they have Sakamoto and a newly hyped up Heisuke, so they'll be fine. Slur's allies seem to be close to order level based on what we've seen so far, which is pretty insane, and the order is, well, the order. So far, the assassination exhibition arc has been pretty exciting, even though it's just been about 10 chapters since the start of the event. The current fight between Gaku and Nagamo seems like it has the potential to be the best in the entire manga, especially since we're seeing Nagamo actually have to get serious against someone who's a straight up beast. I'm really pumped to see how the 3 different parties interact with each other during this event. All I ask is that Sakamoto's entire mental state isn't destroyed like another certain left-right goodnight enthusiast. Actually, he'll be fine. He can probably just eat his way out of it. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to like and subscribe for more subpar anime videos. I hope you end up giving Sakamoto Days a shot if you haven't yet. It's seriously so much fun. If there's any other anime or manga you want me to check out, leave it down below and I'll give it a look. Have a wonderful day.